Hey folks, this is Bruce. Bruce is the 2018 Toyota 4Runner TRD Off-Road. Got about 94,000 miles on him, or just under. Got Bruce right off the lot, brand new back in 2018, and he has been everywhere. I'm talking about both coasts, down on the Gulf, up in the Great Lakes, all through California, all through the Southwest, through Zion, Yosemite, Death Valley, Mojave, you name it, all down towards the Mexican border. I love Bruce. I have built Bruce from the ground up. I got him stock, I've added the suspension, I've added everything else. Yesterday you saw the new Rome cases being put up there, replacing my Plano cases. And today we're actually going to start on the interior, turning Bruce into my new home. So I'm going to start off by giving you a little walk around, tell you what my goals are, at least ideally, for the build out on the interior, and go from there. If you can't tell, Bruce is quite the dirty bastard. This is not going to be one of those videos where I try to make everything seem spick and span, because that's definitely not going to be the business we're in. Now, I am no stranger to sleeping and living in Bruce, at least for a few weeks at a time. I've actually already taken out the passenger side bucket seat. I'm going to take out this back, and then we're going to take out this back and this bucket. I want to see where I'm going to be spatially with the seats out in relationship to my great girth. The reason being, the first and foremost thing that I want to do with Bruce and the build out we're going to do is to still be able to set up inside of the vehicle. I can't tell you how immensely more comfortable and practical that makes things. For one, changing in and out of clothes. Two, working. Three, not feeling quite so claustrophobic because Leia is going to be in here with me. Speaking of that, I have a cover in here that I've already taken out. I actually keep a little hairbrush to try to keep the upholstery clean, but it still has Leia's own personal brand of shag carpet. That's just going to be something we have to live with. The second thing that I really want to be able to do is store not only the few living essentials that I have here, but keep everything to the sides as much as possible, because I'm going to be taking essentially my entire darkroom with me, except for my enlarger. I'm gonna have the scanner. I'm gonna have everything to do contact prints. We just got Winston. Winston is a huge son of a bitch. And Winston, if you hadn't watched the videos, is that big 8x10 Corona view camera that's going to be going with me. So yeah, that's going to be taking up a lot of space just by himself. Just spitballing, I'm going to end up having to put a drawer system of some type in here on the bottom. That's going to have to be at least 4 inches high, because that's how tall my scanner is. I've got a feeling I'm going to put the scanner somewhere in here, make this area one big drawer, put shelving systems on either side here, and I'm going to have a refrigerator of some type in here. Not sure exactly where that's going to go. I'm even going to try to put a sink in here, because I actually built a shower that went on top of Bruce way back in the day on the second trip to Death Valley. That worked out really well. That's a big 13-gallon sucker, so that's definitely not going to fit inside, but who knows, I may end up rigging that up on top. But as far as today goes, I'm of course going to clean out all this nonsense, unbolt the rear seat here, shouldn't be a big deal, and then take off the bucket seat on this side and just see how we're going to go, because this has a big, I think it's about a 3 or 4 inch lip that causes problems sleeping. And I know for certain that I have headroom right here with this back seat, so I've got a feeling this level here is going to be my maximum platform height, not including the mattress, of course, where I can still set up inside the 4Runner here. But of course, before I get ahead of myself, as I always do, I'm just going to take the seats out and see where we land. So let's do that. So taking out at least the bucket seats on these 5th gen 4Runners is extremely easy. I've never taken out the entire seats, that's the uprights, the rears, before. So I'm going to start off by taking off this little carpet lip. This is where the anchor points are. These are 10mm bolts. And I picked up, I've had it for a while now, this little trim removal tool kit. I'm going to pop off these little plastic These little plastic covers here, that should reveal the bolt, and take those off, and this whole thing should just come right out of there. God, Leia, your hair. So that's out. I'm just going to leave this whole thing as one neat little component, so I don't have to try to keep tracks of so many screws and bolts. Do this to the other side. Oh boy, like the 4th of July. So if you're doing this yourself, remember there's like a little vinyl washer on the underside of that bolt. Don't lose track of that. So hopefully this whole thing will just pop out, hypothetically. Okay. So there must be one more anchor point somewhere underneath this seat. So let's pop that up. Oh, and that reminds me, another one of the primary directives that I'm trying to maintain with this build is to not do anything permanent. That is, I want to be able to undo all this stuff and turn this vehicle's interior completely back to stock. So I'm being extra careful. I'm gonna try not to break anything. I'm gonna try not to do anything that's not reversible, at least hypothetically. From what I can see, this seat has 2 points of attachment right here. That's a 14mm socket, and it's attached here at the side. I'm not sure if that just seats in, but we're going to find out. And this seat belt has an attachment point there as well. Now getting to that rear bolt, I don't know. We go around the other side. So I accidentally managed to just go ahead and pull up this little carpet, little lip here that popped right out, didn't break. That's going to give us clear access. This last little bolt for the seat here, because I can't really see what's going on over there. I'm hoping when I get this out, that'll just kind of slide out from the side of the vehicle trim. That's really spring loaded. Yeah, take some of the pressure off of that. Oh, there it goes. All right. So, how does that come out the other side? All right, let's switch sides. I just don't know how to get to that little bolt, and I saw there's a bolt and a mount underneath that. I don't know. Let me refer to the user's manual. How to remove the seats from a 5th gen 4Runner. Aha! Sneaky, sneaky Toyota. This has a cover. Pop that off. Hoping that's going to be our guy right there. I think that's got us. Maybe. Hopefully. Oh, it's like giving birth. There we go. Easy does it. Don't want to breach. Okay, so yeah, if I knew that have that cover on there. Been easy peasy. We've got this, got this little guy right here to take off. 2 little attachment points there. Shouldn't be any problem at all. And I'm assuming something very much the same with this seat here, so I'm probably not going to film that unless I run into any gnarliness. Oh, before I migrate to the other side, I'm going to take out this little swivel bracket. Well, one reason to get it out of the way. The other reason, I'm hoping I can liberate enough holes to mount my shelving on either side of that, and maybe even reuse some of these stock bolts. So that's got to go. And for all you psychopaths keeping score, this turned out to be a 12mm socket instead of a 14 like all the other ones. Very cool. And we're not going to be reusing that bolt because, well, good and bad. At least I won't lose it. It's made integral into that little bracket. So we'll leave him as is. So, while being far from a problem, I wanted to point something out on this driver's side, rear seat back. While it has the 2 bolts right here, just like the passenger, and the one over here that articulates with this little swivel arm, the seatbelt lock, latch, whatever you want to call it, is actually built integral to the seat. So all that comes out in one nifty slice. And as I've said, the actual bucket portion of the 5th Gen 4Runner seats are 10 times easier to remove than the backs. You just pop off these little covers, and this is the same for the passenger and the drivers. Pop off these covers. There's a single 14mm bolt on either one of those. Remove this whole thing just liberates out of the vehicle. Well, folks, I would be lying if I said there wasn't a certain undercurrent of sadness that accompanies cannibalizing Bruce here, even though I know that I'm not actually hurting him. I don't know. This kind of knife work requires a rum drink. Jesus, I nearly had an emotion. So, with our back seats completely removed, I'm going to go to work on this rear carpet and foam assembly. I know from watching other people's builds that this foam was going to be here, but it's just a lot thicker than I thought it was going to be. And after having these seats removed, I wish I could convey to you just how much more room and how much bigger the rear of Bruce actually feels. I feel a lot better about actually building onto this and still having a lot of room, headroom up top. Of course, you know, we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to, for our next step, go ahead and just remove this big foam panel and this top bit of carpeting just to see exactly what's going to be under here. And the main reason for that being, I'm not sure if I'm going to remove these brackets. Those were those 2 tie-down brackets that had the eye hooks on there. These would be great attachment points for the flooring. However, that's going to make this level with the rear. Of course, taking this out is going to add in a lot more road noise. It's going to mean less insulation. I was going to put some type of insulation or sound deadening material on the bottom of this. I don't know. So I'm just going to pull this out, maybe go for a road test to see how the sound is. Of course, I'm going to have about 3/4 or an inch of plywood on the bottom of this anyway. So that's going to take care of some of the noise. Other than that, I just don't know. So yeah, I'm going to shut up, pull out all this foam and carpet. Just a little aside on removing this rear carpet. Of course, everything is one piece. It just peels out from underneath this trim, like so. But when you get back here to the rear, pretty sure this little plastic protective covering That's got to pop off. So I'm gonna grab my little trim tools, see if we can pry this guy right here off the back. I used to just kind of make do with popping off trim. I have broke a few things. I'm telling you, these little trim tools absolutely saved my life. So let's see what can be done. Get underneath here. Let's just pry off. Not really sure what's underneath there. Well, like I said, I don't want to break anything, so let's consult the user's manual again. How to remove the rear trim from a 5th gen 4Runner. So according to El Google, you don't have to take this trim off to get up underneath here. They say it's actually easier to remove these tie downs, as we did up front here, on either side. And they say it's going to be easier to get this trim off. I don't know. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pop these off with that 10mm socket and just see. I really wanted to leave these in here, which I'm pretty sure I will, because I have my little, well, you know, one time I used to be a rock climber. I have my old beaner in here, and that's a great tile for Leia, so she doesn't lose her mind whenever we're parked. And yes, those were birthday candles because I'm a festive motherfucker. That rock, can't remember where that's from. That may be from on top of Half Dome in Yosemite, I'm not sure. Definitely a keeper anyway. So it turns out, as always, I was drastically overcomplicating this. Let's take your little tool, of course be careful, slide that underneath, and you can just feel those little clasps releasing. At least I hope. So can we pull this off now? Yes, we can. And that's somehow, it's not made together. That's overlapping with these side pieces. What's to be done there? Well, I don't know. Good question. Ah, I see. It's got little rabbit ears here. Let me get under there and pinch those, but I need 2 hands. Actually, you know what? I was planning on leaving this in here anyway. On closer inspection, I can see this carpet assembly is held on with these little clasps, which I think I can pop off without having to take this whole rear trim off of here, which is a little bit of a bear. Yeah, that's going to work, but just watch your fingers, because these little plastic clasps are alarmingly sharp. Believe me. So here we have the rear cargo area laid bare. Almost 99% sure I'm just going to leave this trim in here. I'm also going to go ahead and put the little tie downs back on either side. Even if I ended up removing those, I just want them in there for the time being. Okay, so where are we? At least spitballing here. I'm probably going to leave these fender well covers on there just because they have a lot of storage. When I put the shelving in there, it's going to be great to keep things from moving around, especially on the passenger side here. And to top it off, this is where my 120 volt AC is, as well as my 12 volt. Don't want to go through any trouble of removing that. I'm actually going to be putting a hood mounted Sun solar 60 watt system on the front of the vehicle to charge a secondary battery, and I may wire all that in with that. I don't know. So I'm going to leave these as is. The next step is going to be removing this 4Runner foam. Isn't that fun? The only reason I want to do this, like I said, folks, I may end up putting it back in because my plywood bottom of the drawer system is probably going to fit right up underneath that lip. Like I said, I don't know, but I want to get this out of here just to see how this would look bare bones. After really ruminating over it for at least 30 seconds, I've decided to go ahead and pull out these brackets that were the tie downs. The reason for that being, I'm fairly certain any kind of flooring I put in here, I'm going to bolt on probably up from underneath the chassis and probably mount that right here. That is, of course, going to add about 2 inches of height, but that's still going to be less than mounting it to this. And as I said, folks, you would have to be here to see exactly how much more headroom this is added to old Bruce. Feeling very good about this, at least on the room front. Of course, I'm still going to be living in a 4Runner. Yeah, so I'm going to take these out, 10mm sockets on those, and then clean all this junk up and sort of take a little inventory on where we're going to be standing. Or sitting. Yeah, it's more accurate. So where are we in this circus of madness? What comes next? Definitely now that I have the seats out, have the rear foam and carpet out, makes me feel a lot better as far as headroom, at least towards the front part of Bruce here. I'm going to clean everything up, vacuum it out, put Leia's little cover back in here, leave the foam and everything out of the back as is, do a road test, drive it around for a little while, think about it while I'm driving around a little while, stay back here, may even spend the night back here, put a sleeping pad in here, and see how it feels, kind of get a physicality of the space, see how the feng shui is going to play out. Then I think I'm going to start from the bottom up, as you do. Other than that, guys, I think that's a solid first day getting everything gutted out of Bruce here. So I'm going to load Leia up, go for a little ride. Stay tuned for next time. Probably need to put in a doorbell.